Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Judge Dredd Mean Machine Angel, Judge Fear, and Judge Fire. And I realize now I did not center them on the display stand, but you can still see what they look like. These three figures are really freaking cool. They sent me the review samples. Everything I get from Hiya is a review sample. I don't collect the scales that they make until they start making a 1/12 scale. Or at least until they release. So they send me the review samples because you guys collect them and you guys like seeing these things, and so that's why I have them. However, these guys are some of my favorites. I don't know much about Judge Dredd, but these designs, these figures are executed so well. They're so cool looking that I'm really happy to be showing them to you. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. We're going to start with our height measurements. Angel stands just about 4 1/8 inches tall. That's going to make him roughly, we'll call it 10.5 centimeters. Yeah, that's about right, 10.5. Okay, I thought I was seeing something wrong, but I'm not. Losing my mind though. Okay, so here we have Judge Fire. Is it fire or flame? Whatever, it's fire. I think it's fire. Including his fiery hair type wisp, he's about 4.5 inches tall. And that's going to make him closer to, let's call it 11.5 inches. And then we have Judge. Oh, it says on his chest. It says on his chest. Yeah, it's fire. Okay, and then here we have Judge Fear. And he stands roughly, and we'll call it a little over 11 centimeters. And that's going to make him just about, a little shy of 4.5. Okay, so let's do a quick comparison just so you guys can tell, because I know it can be tricky to tell on camera about sizing, especially with, look at all the detail on this guy. Like, that's nice looking. But let's zoom out and do a quick comparison against a really high quality 1/12 scale figure that cost $28. 26? I don't remember which one it was. But there you go. He is tiny. He comes up just above Darwin's belt. All right. Okay. So let's do a quick question of the day. Are you guys starting to get interested in this Judge Dredd line from Hiya Toys? Because they're starting to release some really cool, unique characters, and they seem to be getting better with every batch. With every batch of figures, I'm more impressed, especially with this figure right here. It's really good. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the aesthetics. We're going to do this guy kind of separate from the others because he's not really connected to the other in terms of sculpt or anything. But if you look at him, he is covered with sculpt and paint work that really brings him to life. It looks wonderful. There is more paint on this guy than probably 5 Marvel Legends. Probably 5 waves of Marvel Legends, realistically speaking. Look at that. He looks really, really good. The skin tones having different tones, or the skin tone having different tones, is wonderful. The shirt looks nice and dingy and dirty. Really good paint job. His chest hair looks surprisingly good at the scale. And then his face. Like, is it absolutely photorealistic? No, but that is pretty darn good. That's really, really well done. The metal parts on his arm, very nice. His pants, nice and wrinkled and painted well. And then his boots are done well with some shading and some different colors. Fantastic. Absolutely impressive. This sculpt right here, this sculpt and paint job, may be the best one they've ever done. I haven't reviewed every figure that they've ever made, but this is really nice. So we're going to give him an aesthetic rating of, for the scale and price point, 10 out of 10. His aesthetic is wonderful. All right, now we're going to look at Judge Fire. Okay, so I'm going to point out real quick, his little fire bits are not permanent. They are just clipped on kind of to his arms and legs, and so they do pop off easier than I would like, and I keep bumping them and knocking them off. That probably goes on the other way. Either I'll just leave that off. So this guy, a lot of the parts we've seen before on Judge Death. He's got the skinny limbs that we've seen, the skinny body that we've seen for the most part, but he does have the fire throughout, and he is completely transparent plastic, kind of a smoky plastic with shading, and it actually looks really nice. I like it. I like that they added the white smoke or fire, whatever you want to call it, for his eyes, because it is a black and white figure, and it looks really good. It's kind of hard to tell that it looks good because it's transparent, but when you have it in hand, hopefully it looks good on camera. When you have it in hand, it looks pretty nice. There's a lot of shading. The shoulder or elbow pad's a good example. They have on the top and the bottom dark to light shading, and the hands too. Very, very nicely done. I like that. And you can read his little badge. And then you can see the skull details in his face. Very, very nicely done. I'm going to rate this guy, aesthetically, this guy's going to get a 9 out of 10. It's a little busy with the different shadings here and there, but it still looks really darn good. And then we're going to look at Judge Fear, one of the more cohesive designs that they've done or executed. Very clear, very easy to read the figure, the character design, not just this, but this too. You can see the details are really nicely done. There's shading throughout these shoulder pads, shading throughout most of the figure. The little black lines are really clean. The face looks really good. Is it perfect? No, but it's good. The fingernails are painted. There's shading throughout all of his gear and whatnot. His feet have shading. Everything has shading. The cape is a really, really nice material. I think this is a wonderful material. It's a super thin spandex is what it feels like. It was folded up in the packaging though, so that's annoying. I don't know what you could do to fix that. Maybe iron it, but you'd have to be so careful because spandex can melt easily. Or just let it hang and it might be okay. But it's a really nice material. It looks pretty transparent because of the lighting, but I think on your shelf it won't be a problem. But yeah, this guy looks really good. The cape thing does bother me a little bit, and the face could be a little bit cleaner, so I'm only going to give this guy an 8, but they're all really, really nicely done. The sculpts are wonderful and the paints are really good, but that Mean Machine Angel guy looks wonderful. Alright, now as far as accessories go, they all come with the little display stand with the little clippy thingies. They each get one of those. Angel gets no accessories. Judge Fire gets a staff. It looks like a pitchfork, actually, with some really nicely sculpted flames on there, and he gets a couple alternate hands. And then Judge Fear gets a couple alternate hands, and I guess this would be like a bear trap type thing. It doesn't function, it's just a bear trap with a little chain on it, but he gets that. So not the craziest spread of accessories, but I'm guessing those are enough for the characters, because Hiya tends to include a good amount of accessories usually, so I guess those are okay. Seems like a good amount for the price point, so I'm going to go across the board, except for Angel, because he got 0, other than the display stand. I'm going to go 8 for the accessories for the other guys. Okay, let's do articulation. I'm going to do the articulation on this guy first, because he and the fire guy share the same core body. Alright, the head will... I'll address the things that are different as we go. Alright, so his helmet does limit his head posability quite a bit. Get a little bit of wiggle, but mostly you're just going to be rotating it, which I think is probably fine given the helmet and the character design. Shoulder pads don't really move too much. The arms, you're going to be able to move them, and the shoulder pads move with the arms, but the cape is connected, so don't do too much. The cape is connected like the shoulder pad connects to the arm through the cape, so if you move this, you try to rotate the arm backwards, this bumps into here, and you're going to be stretching the cape if you do get it to go too far. So it's pretty limited, but it's probably going to be enough, especially at this scale. I don't know how crazy people are getting with their poses. You can raise the arm out to the side. So it's there, it's just a little bit limited. The elbow, single jointed elbow. Not the craziest thing we've ever seen, but you get about 90 degrees and you get your rotation there. Wrists are on little tiny ball pegs. Nothing really special there. Torso is on a ball peg. Doesn't seem to want to move as much as I remember this body moving. I guess it could just be the harness, the belt. It doesn't seem to move much. Hips are on drop-down hinges, or drop-down ball pegs, hinge ball pegs. Not my cup of tea at all, and you don't get a ton of range out of them, even with the drop-down, so I really think they need to get rid of that design. It's not a good design. You do get a thigh swivel out of it, though. Double-jointed knees work nicely. No issue there. And then the ankles have a good hinge, and technically there's an ankle rocker in there, but this guy's stuck on both feet, so be very careful with that. They're very tiny. If you're going to heat them, still be very careful. You could twist that plastic right off. So he does have some limitations. I don't think it's going to be enough to really kill the figure for anybody, because he's probably not meant to be doing the most craziest martial arts He's probably not meant to be doing the craziest martial arts poses anyway. I think it's probably okay, but he's still not that posable, so I'm only going to give him a 6 for posability. This guy, the only real difference, he's got the same arms and legs and everything, is the head, which actually doesn't have much better range. It's still mostly just rotation with a little bit of wiggle. Shoulder pads are going to pose the same problem all the way around, so that's a thing. The elbow pads are floaty, so they won't get in the way. And then the torso, yeah, that torso just doesn't really want to go anywhere. So it's not really the belt on this guy or this guy just doesn't really want to go. So he's going to get the same rating for the articulation. And then the unique one, the most unique one of the bunch, this guy's articulation is pretty darn good. It could be better for the head, but it's not bad. It looks up and down pretty well. No gappage. You can kind of force it a little bit more. Full rotation, of course. This arm does articulate. You can bring it out to the side. And of course, you have the full rotation. I think they really nailed the sculpt on this guy. Shoulder pad is connected down here, so you can technically raise the arm up. You can do it. It's stuck. Come on. Okay, well, mine's stuck. Shoulder pad does flex, though, so you can raise the arm up. If yours isn't stuck, mine definitely is stuck. No bicep swivel here, but you do get a bicep swivel down here toward the elbow, which is pretty good. So you can bend that arm, that part of the arm, just a bit better than 90 degrees, and you get your full rotation like that. And then you do get the articulated claw finger thingies. So that's pretty cool. This arm is pretty heavy for him, though, so you will have to account for that when posing. He does have a ball peg in the torso, which gives him surprisingly good range. It's not the craziest thing ever, but it's pretty good. Full rotation. You get more down here at the torso. It's not the best, but you do get a little bit extra, more rotation, more leanage. So that's pretty good. And then the hips, we have the drop down hips again, which are really loose and floppy, and you still don't get very good range out of the legs. Not that bad, but it's not that good, and it could be just as good without those loose drop downs. So I'm not pleased with that. Going out to the side, you get plenty of range. And then you do get a thigh swivel, so that's okay. Double jointed knees are fine. Proportioning's a little bit weird. And then for the ankles, you get your hinge. Goes forward and back well enough, and you get an ankle rocker, which is decent. So this guy's not bad. I'll give him, for the size, I'll give him an 8. Not too bad. So, time for final verdict for each of these guys. This guy, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. Just flat out, 9 out of 10. It is really, really good. He doesn't have any accessories other than the display stand, and the posability could be better. The hips are a little bit limited, but what an incredibly good-looking figure at this scale. Very, very nice. This guy, I'm going to give only an 8 out of 10. His posability is too limited, but he does look pretty darn cool, and he does come with some accessories, so that's nice. And this guy, I am going to also give an 8 out of 10. It is very annoying that his fire pieces pop off, but I guess that's good if you want to be able to pop them off. But he does look really good. The sculpt is really good, and he comes with some accessories that are pretty good. So yeah, 2 8s and a 9. Not a bad spread of figures. Good showing from Hiya Toys, as is usually the case. They have really been upping their game. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.